Hello everyone. How's it going? We got a very big matchup starting soon. We got UCLA against UChicago. Let me clear out these scores. Okay. All right. This is elimination match, quarterfinals. Only 2 rounds after this, semifinals and finals. That'll be next weekend, hopefully on Chess.com's main Twitch channel. Yeah, just waiting for them to start their games. So let me make sure I'm following. Yeah, Julian, did they say? Have they? I'm gonna have to email. All right, we got one game started. Board 4 against board 1. This was their our board 4 that beat Andrew Tang yesterday. Okay, so we got 2 games started. Hopefully the other 2 will start soon. So yeah, this is the quarterfinals, Division 1, Collegiate Chess League, UCLA against UChicago. Both teams, I believe, are 4-1. So really strong teams. UCLA had to beat Princeton yesterday, and UChicago beat Texas Tech. So those are 2 really strong teams that were eliminated, and these are the 2 teams that have won their previous match and competing now in Division 1 quarterfinals. So we've got the 3rd game started against our board 1 and their board 4. And we're just waiting on one last game. So I guess their board 3, William Greif, we are waiting on, I believe. All right, what's happening in this game here? We're going to have to develop our dark square bishop. We just had the 4th game start, so everyone's here. This is round 1 of 4. All right, I'm focusing now. We got an a4 pawn break, recapture with the rook, hitting the bishop, coming back. We still need to get this bishop in the game somehow. And this rook, maybe going to use it to swing over, although maybe not now. All right, getting the bishops off. This was a really well-placed bishop on the long diagonal. This knight is pinned. Yeah, rook might not be too well placed here, actually. It's kind of awkward to come over on the king's side, lining up with the bishop. We're getting the queen out of the pen. All right, so now the knight's hitting the rook. Where this rook goes, I'm not entirely sure. If you go here, you could have bishop here. All right, back to a2. Interesting. Maybe this pawn's gonna push into the game. Okay, so maybe applying some pressure, preventing any b pawn breaks. Also getting on this diagonal, preventing anything from e4 from happening. So black here, international master, board 1 from UChicago, just playing some preventative chess here, trying to take away any pawn breaks in the position for white. So this bishop finally gets moving up to d2. Still not the happiest of homes, but maybe this knight is going to move, and I don't know, maybe we'll get on this nice diagonal. Let's look at our very own Julian Landau. He's got the white pieces here. He's hitting this bishop. He's also hitting this pawn. The queen might not want to be lined up against this pawn. We might see rook to d1 played. Isolated pawn here. Could be putting a lot of pressure on this. Not necessarily thinking about taking on e6 right away, as that would support the pawn with another pawn and open up this f-file for the rook. So black's probably anticipating rook to d1. There's a capture on c3. You give up the dark square bishop, but you double the pawns on the c-file, and they do become isolated. Alright, so we do take on c3. The immediate recapture, I'm assuming, is going to be played. You could take here, and I think the recapture there is definitely forced. Okay, so we will see f takes, and now we take. So we have the bishop pair against the knight pair. So I'm thinking either bishop to a3, hitting the rook, or pinning the knight. Although bishop to g5, you just see h6. Maybe it's worth bishop g5 just to force h6, although h6 is not really forced. I think actually you could just move the queen out of the pen, and if this capture ever happens, since the f-pawn has left, the rook is there in time. Okay, so knight wants to hop in here. This is a very good outpost square, just in front of these two double isolated pawns. That makes sense. Maybe we'll see queen coming over. Maybe try to put some pressure on this e-pawn eventually. Let's go back to our board 4 here. He's under a minute now to 3 minutes and 40 seconds. b4 has been pushed. This is a pawn gambit, but this knight can grab here. Discovery. Okay, so how do we take? How do we want to take? With the pawn, with the knight, the queen? Probably, okay, queen takes, offering queen trade here. This knight is still hit. Okay, we're taking back with the pawn here. Now the knight's gonna have to move. The knight's hopping in here. No fear. Alright. b5. Trading rooks. Gonna have to take this pawn. It's even material. Black has the better pawn structure. So what to do here from black? They have the time to think. Let's look at our board 2 against their board 3. A very, very spacious king side here for white. Oh, this doesn't look very good. We have two. I don't like this capture at all. What just happened here? Oh, we're grabbing a pawn. Okay. So we had two pieces under attack, but we win a pawn. So now the rook is on the open h-file. Our knight is under attack. how exactly to deal with this. Maybe one of these knights is going to come back to h6, step the king up. But not looking too good. I mean, honestly, we have to deal with this first and foremost. So we do see knight to h6. And I do think that king to g7, rook to h8, and everything should be just fine. We just got to make sure we watch out on these dark squares. So we got to protect here. And also we have to keep in mind there's always going to be bishop takes. So this is why I wasn't too enthusiastic. Maybe instead of the G rook, going with the F rook, because the knight here will prevent the queen from getting on the H file. But alas, here we are, and this is a major threat. This is a major threat. The queen's coming over. Choose your poison. I guess the queen's coming to g5. No. White, very strong. Bishop to d2. Preventing any counterplay checks. I think just bishop takes here is really strong. Or just bishop takes here. Oh, no. I guess bishop takes, knight takes, rook takes. Then there's queen to g5. So this is probably more accurate. If knight takes, you're getting mated. Only move. Rook check again, step up, and then the queen comes in with mate. So you can't take here, and you're just going to be losing a lot of material. So you can't even take back. And yeah, rook h8 needed to be played there. So National Master board 3 from UChicago doing really well here against UCLA's board 2. Let's go back to our board 4. Let's see how he's doing. Doesn't look too good. Lots of passed pawns. We can maybe grab this. This pawn's gonna push. Yeah, and the knight's here as well. You could sack the knight, and it's game over. So it looks like we're gonna lose that. Let's look at Julian's game. Hopefully we have some good news here. All right, hitting the knight. We do have a time edge. We do have material advantage, but really weak pawn structure. Safer king though, for sure. Alright, so we had our first result. Our board 4 goes down to their board 1. To be expected. But our board 4, as you guys saw yesterday, he's definitely had some major upset wins, which have been extremely beneficial. Let's see. So taking here is not quite a threat because I'm expecting... Okay, you can't go back because you lose your bishop. So bishop comes here. Is that a fork? No, you have rook here, but it seems a little suspicious. Yeah, I think grabbing here might have been a good idea at some point, but now it's defended. We can give a check, but then the king steps up. So we're not in time to win the pawn. Oh, we take first. We take first. What about... Okay, well, this is fine. That one's a pawn, at least. We're going to try to fight these guys. Defending. We got a 3-on-2 pawn majority on the queen side here. There's a check. We can get here, maybe. Nope, stepping the king up. This is a weak pawn, but the king is very strong here. We can grab this. Well, now not, but check. King here, maybe. Attacking this with check. Takes. We got to save this guy. Oh, I'm not a big fan. Oh, that's actually really smart. Forking the king and the pawn and defending h2. King stepping back, not grabbing here. Defending our c3 point. This should be a win for Julian. Let's look at our board 1 against their board 4. Oh, we're actually down in material. We're down in exchange. What exactly is going on here? This is their board 4. Very strong 2400 National Master. Very low on both clocks here. Hitting the knight. Knight's going to come here. Hitting the pawn. There's no good discoveries. Maybe you have to step the queen back. This is going to be... Okay. We can come in here. But the queens come off. That was a good way for white to simplify everything. Oh man, this is a little nerve-wracking. I'm thinking of... Yeah, I mean, check. I guess you go back. Gotta defend these points. Knight here. Okay. He's gonna try and hold for a draw here. Let's look back at Julian's game. Let's see how he's doing. Julian should be making a queen here. There we go. All right, so we're tied up. Here's our board 2 against their board 3. Down a piece. Probably just bishop here. Gonna go for these weak pawns. Can't give check because you lose the bishop. Is this guy passed? Here, only move. You got... Oh, if you go now, then check. Maybe king up. But then is he in time to stop this pawn? This is actually interesting. What on earth is happening? Here, 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 here. And they're in time. But I don't know. I think you just kind of have to go for this. You have to, because at least you get this pawn if they take. Here, you got low time. You gotta... This is... Okay, well, this falls to a couple things, I guess. Here or here... No. You have to take on g6. g6 is forced. Wait. No, they needed to push and grab. There's a queen now. What on earth? They needed this tactic. They couldn't let the pawn run. Save the pawn here. Yeah, smart. Push. No. I would, when the king moves, you push forward. Or this. This should win. What happened? Our board 1 lost to their board 4, so huge upset win for them. And Julian got us a point. So this is the last game. We were completely down a piece. And now this pawn's pushing. We should be winning the queen. I mean, the step up here. You got to hold on to this pawn. Yeah, you're winning this. You can take this, right? Oh, this is mate and 2 threat. How do you stop it? You don't. I guess you come up, but then... yeah, this is just much better. Make a queen. No promotion with check. What a comeback win here to tie things up. So UCLA boards 2 and 3 with the wins there, but our board 1 and board 4 lose. So UChicago keeping it close. Huge win against our board 1 with their board 4. So tied up, all knotted up at 2. Being even here going into round 2. These are some close games. Nicholas Tice, if you go to grad school, you're more than welcome to join. Or back to college. Chelsea, good to see you. Brian the Butcher, fan of UCLA, good to see you. Yes, Julian Landau is a med school student. Our board 3 here, FIDE master. He's up against board 1 from UChicago. So grad students are more than welcome to join. They're encouraged to join. Hello, Frappuccino. All right, so what's going on here? D5, I like it. It makes a lot of sense. Closing this diagonal. There could have been some sort of tactics against this rook. Maybe follows. Oh, the bishop's under attack, so we gotta move this guy. Going back to a6. The knight's either gonna come d7 or c6. No, I don't play daily games. All right, let's look at let's look at our board 1 against our board 3. He lost to National Master, and he's facing off another National Master, so hopefully he's inspired. He's gonna try to come back and win this game. He's hanging a bishop here. I don't understand. I really don't understand. I thought pawn takes was forced there. What's going on here? Is this a trapped queen? So, I guess black has the option. A bishop and a rook for a queen. What a way to maintain the pawn structure, not doubling the pawns. Taking with the queen here. And yeah, you just got bishop for a knight. So we got the bishop pair. Yeah, queen takes, knight, rook e1, knight e4, but then the queen just leaves, right? Ah, but it attacks f2. Okay, knight e4 is played. I mean, I feel like we could have taken this pawn, right? Takes. Oh, no. Well, we want the piece. My bad. We want the piece. So we do end up having our pawns doubled. So, yeah, knight e4. Definitely good find. And now c4 is under attack. We do end up with this doubled pawn structure. So it was going to happen regardless. Rook here or knight here looks like the only two moves to save it. Not too pleasant. This, again, our board 1. Struggling, it seems, in these first 2 games. But plenty of chess left to be played. Let's look at our board 4 here. So he's playing the strongest players on the UChicago team, but I do like his pawn structure better here. This is a gambit, just trying to open up this F file. And yeah, if this pawn is to take, then there's a skewer here, but this knight is hanging. In fact, well, this is with check. You take here, you're hitting the bishop, but you're also losing this with check, so. Best move. Maybe bishop here. No, he takes here. Okay, so I'm expecting this check. Rook takes maybe, queen takes. And then white's going to recapture with the pawn to undouble. Queen. I think queen takes. Okay, queen takes. Now probably pawn takes. And then castles. Frappuccino, no more questions. You cannot be mod. You will likely not be mod in my channel ever. So, okay, bishop takes, keeping the pawns doubled. I don't want to take, and I don't want to allow this. So, playing f6. Rook check, king stepping up. Probably going to play rook to e8 soon. Threatening to win a pawn here. You don't want to play g6 pretty much ever. Yeah, rook here. They can take with the bishop. Pawn takes, rook takes. Because if bishop takes, rook takes, pawn takes with check, and we have to deal with this, and there's no time to take back. So yeah, probably just bishop takes here, I guess. No, doubling up here, that's fine. This is really strong position for white. So poor Daniel here, our board 4, having to play some really tough players, but not anything he's not used to. Yeah, Caleb, I agree. Let's look at Julian's game against their board 1. So Julian, one of our 2 points from the first round. He's still not castled. Hitting a rook. Hitting this bishop. Like lots of things can happen here. But it looks like there's enough defense for white for everything. These pieces they kind of feel loose a little bit. And let's see. So in this position, I would have liked taking the bishop, because then this bishop becomes really strong. Okay. Let's see. This bishop d2, hitting this rook around. Now grabbing. I think queen has to take, and now maybe castling. No. Oh, that's a skewer. Look at these tactics. Yeah, bishop d2, really strong move, forcing. Yeah, I feel like I would just take this. Hitting the queen and then castling, unless you really like this bishop. Under a minute here. Julian's gonna have to figure something out. Daniel, 4 seconds left. This looks pretty lost. Queen's coming in here. This pawn can push. You can go here, but then promote to knight is really strong. He loses on time. Let's look at our board 1. So he looks like he's gotten the worst. I mean, he's undoubled his pawn somehow. He can play c4. Just trying to hold on to this. What if black plays c? Oh, I guess the knight's gonna come in. The knight wants to come to c4. Maybe here for black would have been a good idea. But now, okay, well now I think you have to play c4, right? How do you defend this? What if knight here? And then I guess the rook comes up. And then here. Oh, and maybe, I don't know. He's only got 40 seconds. Let's give a point to their board 2. They've taken a lead here. First win in round 2. All right, so the knight does come to c6. I'm expecting, yeah, can you play here and be super annoying? Or are you going to play here, but then, I don't know. Let's look at, oh, we had a result. Oh, our board 2. Oh, with checkmate. Oh, look at this knight sack. Check, really strong. That's essentially forced. This wins the rook. Hold on. What just happened here? Taking here. Queen takes. Okay, hold on. This is discovery, but the bishop's pinned. So rook here. Rooks have been both lost. And now this trying to cut off the queen's communication of the knight, but she doesn't care about the knight. She cares about this king. We got knight check, guarding both knights. Also discovery with the rook. Doesn't even matter. Queen takes, pawn takes, only two choices, and saving the queen for one move gets your king toasted. So what a finish there. Let's look at Julian's game. He's got 2 seconds left. Oh my god, he's so low on the clock. He's getting his pieces forked. He's going to lose. He goes down, so their board 1. So let's get a point for Michael. Let's get a point for their board 1. We're still down a point. We got 1 game left. Our board 1 against their board 3. Is UChicago's board 3 and board 4 going to take down our board 1? I don't think so. It looks like they dropped a pawn, and now they're at a loss for moves. They don't know what to do. So, oh, actually, knight here forking the rook and the pawn. So the rook does step up to keep pressure on d5, but after c4, this a7 pawn was not defended. And now we trade off the knights. The rooks are getting active, preventing b5 from being played. You can double up on the b file. We have really low time though. So okay, Luke covering his base points. Gonna step this king up, hopefully. This rook is gonna want to move back and let the king do the work. No. So what's going on here? Rook here, yeah. How are you gonna defend? How are you gonna king? You could. Oh, gotta watch the clock. Gotta watch the clock. You can't flag here. King stepping back. Okay. This isn't looking too good for our king activity. He's rerouting. He's moving on over. So eventually maybe try to defend the pawns and... Oh, that might be a free pawn. You're going to hold on to this? You're going to drop that though. Okay, that's fine. So he has doubled up his rooks. He's probably going to go for rook to b3. Yep. So trying to get these rooks off. You could double up on the b file if you wanted to. Okay, attacking these weak pawns. I like it. You got to move the rook here if you want to save the pawn. And this is really awkward. So grabbing all this activity. Maybe rook here now is going to be a threat, maybe. No. It's pushing. I really like rook here once that king steps over. Stepping this king up. Going to kick this rook out. Going to win a pawn is the plan. Preventing the rook check. Don't want to give up c4. This is a really good technique here. Now the rook is left. We take with check. This is going to fall, but we can grab here. We'll have 2 outside pass pawns. We can play rook here or just attack this is good as well. This should be a win for white. Should be fairly simple. Rook here. Or push the pawn, actually. I think pushing would be better. Here allows this. All right, now that the pawns aren't lined up, we are more than happy to get this last pawn off. Yeah, you got to hold on to this guy. What's going on here? Just push. Yeah. Get this other guy in the game. There it is. All right, so our board 1 bouncing back in the equalizing point. So both rounds have been even so far. Good win here from Luke against the tricky board 3. We saw it earlier on in this game. Luke had some really awkward double pawns here. He actually had to give one up, but he got one back. So yeah, and then this that pawn fell, and then he didn't look back. So Michael Kleiman and George Lee, both international masters. The only 2 players that are 2-0. This is Julian Landau here, board 3. He's 1 out of 2 so far. Up against board 4 from UChicago. So we're going to hopefully try to win this one. But he's a good player. He beat our board 1, so anything can happen. All right, this knight's hopping in, maybe trying to get to b5, most likely. Maybe look at some of these dark squares. This is under attack, so we're defending with our queen. Also lining up on this diagonal, just adding more fuel to this b5 square. Alright, castles for black, completing development. Knight b5 seems like a logical continuation. Alright, this is Michael Kleiman against Retired Patzer. Our board 2 against their board 1. Both the IMs, both undefeated, so we'll see what happens in this game. I want to keep an eye on this one. We'll see if one finally loses a game. Similarly, our board 4 against their board 3. Both of these players have lost all of their games, so we'll see if one can get a win here, or if they'll both get a point, or a half point at least with a draw. They could both get on the board. So Daniel here, 2380 against 2412, national master. William from UChicago. Frappuccino, it's not, you don't have to ask. It's not worth answering. All right, so we want to open up these lines for our bishops. This was drawn by repetition. Is this just a known drawn? Okay. All right. Well, board 1 against their board 2. Get some draws in. I guess UChicago's happy with that, with the board 2. Getting a half point with our board 1. Maybe our board 1 was also happy with that, because he had some tough games earlier, so a half a draw against their board 2 doesn't look too bad. So interesting. Maybe both sides mutually happy with that. That was a fast decision there in that game. Let's look at Julian's game here. Oh, rook lined up with the queen. Discovery attacks. Does that win an exchange? Knight d6 looks good to me. Knight d6 played. That gets at least the exchange. You can play rook takes here. If you're like greedy, I don't know. You'd have to calculate, where does the queen go? The queen steps up, you have bishop here. If the queen goes back, you have to go here. And then you can take... I'm playing rook takes. Yeah, rook takes, and you've got two bad choices. This should be a win for Julian here. Looks like a really good position. Let's look at the undefeated players. Oh, very strong battery here. Knight's hopping in, and this knight cannot take, because then this is an exchange here for us. And what else is a threat? I guess taking the bishop. Rook takes, and then you win a piece here. So, okay. Hitting the queen. Hmm. Okay, so if... Oh my god. These tactics, man. Yeah, this forks the king and rook. This is not good. I think knight d5. What a shot. Might have been missed here. What's the move? King h7. And then I would say knight takes, because if you take here, then they take here. I guess we're hitting this at the end. What on earth is going on in this position? Ooh, king to f8. Okay. Rook takes b2, right? Take the queen. Take the queen. Okay. Now rook takes queen. And then we get the bishop. That was something else. Okay. So now we're threatening to take their bishop. King takes, and then this pawn falls. They have rook takes here, but then we take the knight. And then they play here. We can play here. Oh, is this a threat? Do they have to come back? And then we take... Oh, they take with check. We step up. Then they have to come back. But then this falls. I like black here. What just happened? What a sequence. Let's look at this. Knight takes. Rook takes c2. King here. Queen a3 could have been something else. Wow. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Here we're just pretty comfy here, I guess. Right, really awkward pieces for white. Pretty active pieces for black. Was bishop b4 check missed? Bishop b4, you can... Bishop b4, knight to c5. Ah, bishop b4, knight c5. Blocks the rook from the queen. So, not a check there. Frappuccino, you've been warned. You better behave. You can only comment on the chess games. Alright, this is Julian's game. He's got the queen. So yeah, this is really well played here. So he gets the queen for a knight and a rook. He's got double pawns here. If the rook takes, the knight falls. So this knight is pinned. So knight's protecting it, but I think knight here should be pretty good, right? That should at least win the exchange. Rook here, you just take. Here, you take. So actually, in this position, rook here should have been played. Rook here. Yeah, missed. So, good play from Julian. Let's look back at Michael's game. He's got 2.5 minutes to half a minute. There's a check. Step here, grab a pawn. Or either pawn. I don't know. This is an interesting position. We are down a pawn here. But with that, it equals it up. Here, okay. You give check. I guess it doesn't really do anything. I don't know. I think you want to keep the rooks on, though. I mean, if you take king takes, then yeah, these pawns can get rolling, I guess. Let's look at our board 4 here. He's only got 10 seconds. What's going on? I feel like c5 is a move. Okay, just kicking the knight back. Even material, just no time. But it looks like maybe William's going to give some time back. He's thinking here. But there's no real like clear knockout for either team. All right, I like this. Just lining up with the king long term. Okay, bishops here. These bishops, you know, they're good, but it's not like pinning the pieces to anything. This is interesting. Maybe knight's going to come here or something. Okay, gonna kick these bishops out. Barely any time. Alright, Julian got a point. So we're ahead. Two games left. No time left in this game. Looks like we got a bishop off. Lots of pawns coming. Okay. That's an interesting trade. I don't think that favors white. This is a very weak pawn structure. This king scooch over. Rook's going to come in. The king should also move, I think. Rook check. King h2. You got to trade these rooks off. Just in time. You can take rook over again. The king's... This pawn's under attack, though, is a problem. Yeah, this pawn's going to fall. This looks good for white. I mean, black, for sure. Yeah, no. Yeah, this is over. This is over. You could take that with check. Okay. Oh, what? Yeah, maybe queen here was meant, but okay. All right, that was tough. William with his first point. So Daniel, the only one left to get a point, and the match is tied up. We got one game left. One game left. There's a check. All the kings are on this side, so you can't defend. We're going to have to push, give up a pawn. We're going to fight for a draw here. Ooh, I liked bishop here, trying to get over. At least it's an H pawn. Yeah, this is tough. We're going to have to bring this king in, but we're going to lose this pawn. And it's not the right color square, not that it really matters. But yeah, we're just too far. I would have pushed, but I guess the king would come in. So our best bet, we got to sack the bishop for the pawn. So they could have tried for this, but I think, yeah, a draw has been offered from whites, so it's been agreed. Black will never be able to win this. And yeah, we're moving on. I feel like white should have totally tried. But yeah, it looks pretty drawish to me. Seems pretty standard draw. But anyways, wow. All evened up, so neither team taking any leads. This was both these players undefeated so far. Both 2.5 out of 3. And we're knotted up at 6 here going into this final round. Let's see if Daniel can finally get some points here. Okay. All right. We got board 4. Daniel would be crucial to get some points here. His first points of the match. Let's see, white to move. They can take here. Maybe d5 in the future for black. No, just, oh, is this bishop short on squares? I don't think so. Maybe. Can we take this pawn? And then, I guess, well, they have queen or knight takes. All right, let's look at Luke against retired Patzer here. George. Both Lees going at it. I don't think they're related, but George Lee undefeated. Luke at 1.5 out of 3. Hitting this rook, I like that. George definitely launching a pawn storm on the king side. Castling. All right. So what is going on? This knight is pinned. Maybe we're going to see d6 at some point, kicking this bishop back. All right, just launching the pawns. I like it. Maybe g4 here, trying to keep things closed. g4, knight d2, perhaps. Luke probably going to castle long, I'd assume. Okay, giving up the bishop here. Knight takes. Right. Or takes. Rook takes? I like rook takes. But I don't like that we're down a piece. Yeah, and he's not playing really fast, so this doesn't seem good. Grabbing the pawn. Probably gonna take here. Probably need pawn takes. Knight takes attacks. Okay, threatening a fork. They're gonna develop something. They're gonna move one of these two pieces, or take here or something. All right, so queen's stepping up on the f-file. And this pawn, we always have this check, but rook should be there. Let's see, what's going on? Can we push the pawn? Maybe. And we're going to have double isolated c-pawns. That's not looking too good. He's castled. Okay. Still not looking too good. Let's look at Julian's game here, the board 3 matchup. Ooh. Ruined pawn structure on the king side, but maybe we can take advantage of the open g file. This queen wants to come in. Maybe just f5 now. I like f5. And queen f3. I guess, yeah, maybe not. Maybe just king over. King over, rook g8. We do have this nice bishop. Should be annoying for some time. This is a pawn, right? I wonder if we can grab that pawn. Okay. Queen check, king over, knight here, rook here. That or queen f3. Nope, so knight in. So this is a mate threat. So king h8 seems pretty logical. Knight here seems pretty annoying as well. I like that pawn that we won. That was good. Let's look at our board fours. What's going on here? This is looking pretty even. Maybe white's favored a little bit. Ahead in development. Really good rooks here. Opposite the queen. We can move the knight with tempo on the queen. This queen might be a little short on squares, but I don't think it's getting trapped. I just think it's awkward for the queen to find moves or squares. These could be some tricky knights. Let's look at our board twos. So, Michael here, undefeated so far. This position also looks pretty drawn. Knight here, though. This is actually super cramped. Super cramped. This is a very strong C pawn. Okay. Both G3, G6. From both sides. Alright, kicking this knight out. I like this for white at some point, but then the bishop's going to come back. I wonder if we can target f7. That looks a little juicy. If we get this bishop here, get some like queen sack. This knight's in the way though. Bishop here, bishop here, bishop here, bishop here. Alright. So do we want to take en passant? I guess yes. I guess yes. And now rook takes, probably bishop takes or queen takes. Can we take on c6? Do we win a pawn? Bishop takes. Do we want to win a pawn? I like white here. I like how Michael's playing. He's a little low on the clock though. Super cheese here, Luke. He's got 2 pawns for the piece, right? But really weak queen side. Very low on the I mean, oh my god. 14 seconds to 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Not good. Not good. Training off rooks. Developing our bishop. Maybe, oh boy, can't move the G pawn now. This is a strong bishop. What are we going for? What are we going for, Luke? Yeah, hoping for bishop takes with the fork, but nope. Hitting the queen. 2 seconds. 4 seconds. That's tough. That's real tough. We're gonna have to come back to that game. Hopefully we find a win somewhere else. Okay, Daniel up a pawn, it seems. And a nice pen on the D file. So, yeah, we did kick this queen around. Maybe e5 at some point. Trade bishops. Oh, f7's hanging. Potentially. We play here. e5. I would play e5. Both sides 50 seconds. Yeah, Luke goes down. So their board won 3.5 out of 4. Dominating performance. Let's look at Julian's game. Julian, yeah, he's got this open G file. Again, this bishop's pretty strong here. His knight's under attack. Actually, what's going on? The knight's hanging. No? Oh, but then we have this. But then queen here. And then we double up. But then they just play here. I mean, I'm taking the knight if I'm white. I'm just taking the knight. What am I missing? Am I missing something? Is there a rook sack? Well, they're thinking. They're giving us time. Oh my god, there's no time here. These are the board forced. Daniel. He wins a piece here. Oh, that's not good. Oh boy. There's a check. Oh, if we could get back rank check, at least that's nice. But no, there's no good discoveries. What on earth? Can we play here? Oh, we take with the queen. Oh, but we're still hanging this. We're down in exchange. No time on either clock. Rook here is going to be a threat. Okay, hitting the rook. You can double. Oh, boy. All right, guarding this check. This doesn't look good. But they have no time. These knights guarding the entrance squares, but poorly placed. King steps up. Now we have no time. Oh my god, what is going on in this game? Here, 2 seconds left. Is he going to flag? He's got 1 bar connection. He flags. Daniel with his first point of the match. We're tying this thing up here. It's coming down to the wire. 7-7. We need 1 point for the draw from either team. What's going on here? Michael, he's definitely favored. Getting the queens off. Queen can block, but rook coming in, forking the pieces. You take the rook. Play here. Or there's bishop check. Bishop check. Oh, but then the rook's under. Oh, okay, they can take here, but then bishop here is really strong. Oh, the bishop here. Okay. Is this mate? Mate. There we go. And Julian won his game? What just happened? Julian, Daniel, and Michael won their game. I think that's the match, you guys. I think that's it. Yeah, we just won. Julian here with the mate. Julian with this open G file. So, okay, the knight was not taken. Interestingly, we had this sacrifice declined. Coming back, defending this pawn, defending this. The knight was dropped. This pawn comes in, losing this with check, but now we're hitting the queen and the knight. So they missed this. Oh, that's a big mate to drop. No time left on the clock. Let's give these guys their points. Daniel won, starting us off there, and Michael Kleiman undefeated, 3.5 to give us the 9-7 win. Unbelievable. And we will see Mizzou next weekend in the semifinal.